Good morning. It's Wednesday, September 23rd, and last night I watched a sermon by Henry Cloud, and he's a Christian psychologist. He writes a lot about boundaries, but based on the Bible. It's really, really neat. And so he was talking about Romans 12 verses 1 and 2, and the overall theme of the sermon was about finding your why or your purpose or God's will, and how we pray like, Lord, what is your will? What is your will? But these verses are really neat because they show like how step by step to like tap into God's will, I guess. So the first says, I urge you in light of God's mercy to give your bodies as holy and pleasing sacrifices. And then it says, do not conform to the patterns of the world, but be renewed in your mind. And then you will be able to test what God's good and pleasing will is. And so it starts out, all of this is in light of God's love and in light of God's mercy. So we first need to know that. And out of God's love, we give ourselves as holy and pleasing sacrifices. So we give of ourselves in everything. And then he actually said we have to say no. And this is something that I'm working on just in general. But we cannot be conformed to the pattern of the world. So the world goes a certain way, does certain things. So we can't be, we have to say no sometimes. And going back to the giving ourselves as holy sacrifices, Henry said that we basically have to surrender something. So we wake up every day asking the Lord what to surrender, whether that's control or an area, something. So, Lord, what do you want me to surrender? And then with that posture, we're able to go in and say no when we need to. And then it talks about renewing our mind, and he just went into talking about how we often make decisions, but our minds are not renewed, and so they're poor decisions. And so we can, as we're doing these things, ask God to renew our mind, and he actually gives us wisdom, and we can tap into what his will is. And then he joked about it, but he said it gets harder because we actually have to experience some pain. And he said there's two types. We can experience like the pain of discipline, so saying no and making those hard decisions up front, or we can experience the pain of regret. And that really struck me because I've had like the second kind of pain lately. And if I would have gone through some hard decisions, made hard decisions, had courage in the beginning, I wouldn't have felt as much pain now. So it's just so neat. And so, but regardless, he says we have to walk through the pain. And I don't think we always realize that as Christians, there is pain, and we're called to, many times called to walk into that. And that's where real growth happens, and that's where we do experience God in really neat ways. So I just really love that sermon. I do wonder, like, Lord, what's my purpose? What is my calling? What do you want me to do today? But what a neat process we can go through, and to have God renew our mind in the midst of all of it is really, really neat.